Thank you, Tom, and thank you, everyone else. And good morning. Before I begin, I want to express my deepest gratitude and to all of you for joining us, but also to our MC and organizer of this event, Tom Lebezinski. For those of you who don't know, Tom is wrapping up 6 years of faithful service on the board of American Pilgrims on the Camino. He conceived of both this event, which is now in its fourth year, and the 2021 St. James Day celebration in South Bend, which some of you may have attended. Tom, you're a light in the darkness of a turbulent world, and I hope that our pilgrim community will join me in offering you a huge virtual round of applause. So, lately I've been thinking a lot about light. I remember the feeling of waking up early in an albergue, pulling my things together by the light of my headlamp, and venturing out before dawn. As the sun rises and the horizon fills with color, you feel truly alive and get a little pep in your step. Light is a common theme at this time of year as we approach the winter solstice and the days start to become longer. Yesterday was the feast day of Santa Lucia, whose name means light, like the Spanish word luz. In Nordic countries, children's heads are adorned with wreaths and candles. During these 4 weeks before Christmas, people also light Advent candles, representing hope, joy, peace, and love, one per week. The Jewish festival of lights, Hanukkah, is marked by the daily lighting of candles, recalling a miracle in the Temple of Jerusalem when one day's worth of lamp oil lasted for 8 days. Pilgrims are very familiar with the experience of counting the weeks in anticipation of an arrival. In our case, arrival in Santiago. We mark the days, we commemorate major events, and we extend scant resources and energy, going further than we ever thought possible. We also experience miracles with every single step. My first Camino was 5.5 years ago. One day in Virgen del Camino, my daughter and I stopped at a fork in the trail, trying to decide which way to go. There was a little yellow truck parked at the side of the path. An older man got out and called to us, "Peregrinos? Santiago?" The man then started to ask us something in Spanish, which I struggled to understand. But he kept saying, "Maria Jesus y su novio." We finally realized that he was asking us to light a candle in Santiago for his daughter and her boyfriend. We refused the man's offer of cash, but for the next 300 kilometers, we carried the flame of this father's prayer in our hearts, repeating it like a mantra as we walked. Maria Jesus y su novio, Maria Jesus y su novio, Maria Jesus y su novio. When we reached the cathedral, we lit that candle for Maria Jesus and her boyfriend and paused in reflection. So this year it was my turn to let others carry the flame of my prayers. While I was on the Via de la Plata, I received word that my dad's health had deteriorated critically. I returned home, and a month later, he was gone. Our very own Tom Lebezinski was in Santiago, volunteering at the Pilgrims office. When he heard the news of my father's passing, he immediately went to the cathedral and lit a candle for my dad. But that's not all. A member of my Via de la Plata Camino family, Niels from the Netherlands, was still walking, almost 2 months after we had parted ways. Literally 1 hour before I stepped out the door to deliver my father's eulogy, my phone went off. There was a picture of a votive stand in a Spanish chapel, the part of it you can see behind me. And there was a message from Niels. "Hi, Joe. Finally, I found a church where they have real candles instead of electric light. I lighted one for your father and one for Marjolein, my wife. May they rest in peace." We all have the ability to carry light for other pilgrims. We all can share that light. And here at American Pilgrims, that is what we seek to do every day. We do this guided by our mission, our vision, and our values. Our mission is to support, gather, and inform. We support the Camino through our grants program, which has provided almost $800,000 of direct funding to nonprofit and parochial albergues, associations, and for wayfinding projects. There are two recent initiatives that I'm particularly proud of. In the first case, we're teaming up with other donors on the creation of a new albergue and pilgrim welcome center in Madrid. The second point of pride is our direction of funds to two organizations that are making it easier for individuals with physical disabilities to experience the joy of pilgrimage with all-terrain wheelchairs and a support van. This is all made possible by the membership fees and donations of people like you. Talk about sharing the light. In addition to money, we support the Camino with people. You'll find volunteers from American Pilgrims on the Camino welcoming people at Ribadizo. You might also encounter some of the nearly 900 American Pilgrims trained hospitaleros. The second part of our mission is to gather pilgrims together. Today is an example of that. I invite you to chat out a quick note about where you're joining from and maybe a few words about your experience with the Camino or with American Pilgrims. Today's open house is one of many virtual events that we hold throughout the year. We also sponsor a Facebook digital community that boasts over 44,000 members. We gather pilgrims together in nearly 60 chapters around the country. Chapters organize hikes and talks and get-togethers. They also cooperate with one another and stage major regional events, like recent presentations of the play Crying on the Camino. Some of our Midwestern chapters are organizing a return of the St. James Day celebration in South Bend. The capstone of the year, though, is always the annual gathering of pilgrims. And in 2025, this is going to be extra special. We're teaming up with our friends at the Canadian Company of Pilgrims to hold a joint gathering in Vancouver. You're going to hear more in a little while about this. The last part of our mission is to inform pilgrims and provide encouragement. I hope you've had a chance to check out our website at americanpilgrims.org and to enjoy our digital magazine, La Concha, which is written by pilgrims and for pilgrims. Both have recently been revamped by our dedicated team of volunteers. Volunteers are also working to beef up our social media, email, and video channels, and to provide you with timely and engaging information updates. We want pilgrims to be prepared with the information they need and in other ways. We're the only organization in the United States authorized by the cathedral to issue pilgrim credentials. And so far this year, we've sent them on a donativo basis to over 8,600 people. Now, while working to fulfill our mission, we remain true to our vision, which is quite simple. We inspire all who seek the spirit of the Camino to connect with the global community of pilgrims. During today's open house, you're going to really get to connect with the global community of pilgrims. You'll hear from people from at least half a dozen countries who are all sharing light and the spirit of the Camino in their own ways. We've worked to strengthen our relationships with our Spanish hosts in local and regional government and Camino associations and federations around the world. We're the only U.S. organization authorized by the main Spanish Federation to provide hospitalero training. Our members have participated in cultural exchanges with the associations in Nevada and La Rioja, and we look forward to continuing this work with the Burgos Association. We send representatives to encuentros of associations and hospitaleros. The board meets regularly with our international counterparts via Zoom and in person, and we are planning a summit with our Spanish Federation partners next year. In the area of government relations, we have a special agreement with the Junta in Galicia to provide volunteers for the Ribadizo Welcome Service. Members of the board have recently met with Spanish tourism, culture, and consular officials. In March, I accepted an invitation from the ambassador of Spain to Canada to help honor Canadian Company of Pilgrims leaders. The ambassador serves as CCOP honorary patron and will be a keynote speaker at the upcoming gathering. And next Wednesday, we're meeting with the ambassador of Spain to the United States to let her know about our work and to explore ways to engage more deeply. Everything we do is informed by our values: community, service, gratitude, and simplicity. I feel gratitude every day for the members of this community and for the many ways you have demonstrated service. Whatever way you might be sharing your light with others, whether as a volunteer or as one of our 3,000 paid members or as a donor. Please know that it is appreciated. We're doing a lot at American Pilgrims on the Camino, but we are mindful of our fourth value, simplicity, and what attracted so many of us to the Camino de Santiago in the first place. A backpack weighed down with very few belongings and a rudimentary daily routine that is punctuated by simple pleasures. Now, in closing, I want to light a candle for you, our pilgrim family. I wish you every blessing of the season, a happy and healthy new year, and a great open house. Buen camino.